Good morning, children. Sairam, I welcome you all back for our today's session, English. So, are you eager to know what happened to that Chinese nettle tree? Yes, it was uprooted in the typhoon, and people are worried now. Now, let's see what happened to that tree. Now, children, let's do a quick recap of what we learned in part 1. So, it was 1984. In that year, a typhoon roared and howled through Hiroshima in Japan. So, many trees and buildings was damaged. It was uprooted and obstacles were there in its path. And the people who were living there heard the sound crack, and they ran out in spite of the typhoon to see what had happened. So a great Chinese nettle tree fell down. It lay upon the ground and split 4 meters above the root. Now then, there was it was not an ordinary tree, because many years before there was an atomic bomb. There was an attack, Hiroshima bomb attack in Japan. So that time this nettle tree was half burnt, but it did not die, because the children from Monomachi Elementary School nursed the tree and it was back to life. So, willing it to survive as a living witness to the bomb. And then what happened? So, the tree has fallen down now. So, however, it seemed that it has finally come to an end. The people thought the tree is dead. But how could the tree survive the damage inflicted by the typhoon? There was only one hope. So, people were having only one hope. That is Tadaiko Yamano, the tree doctor. So here arrived the tree doctor. That's right, a tree doctor. Someone who takes care of trees just like other doctors take care of people. So let us see now what this Tadaiko Amano did and what treatment he did. And we also can read that whether this tree it became alive or it is dead. Now let's move on to the lesson. So when he arrived, who arrived? Dr. Yamano pressed both hands against the tree and closed his eyes in concentration. So what he did, children? Dr. Yamano arrived and he pressed both the hands against the tree and closed his eyes in concentration. Through his palms, he could feel moisture and sensed that the tree was breathing. The root structure was still solid. The tree will live, he announced. The children who had gathered around him anxiously sighed with relief. Wow, what a wonderful doctor. So, the normal doctor with a stethoscope, he just checked our breath. But here, Dr. Yamano, he pressed his hands against the tree and with full concentration, with his palms, he could feel the moisture and he sensed that the tree was breathing. So he announced the children that it will live, the tree will live again. So the children who had gathered around there were anxiously sighed with relief. Now they were very happy to hear this. Now let's see what happened. They followed his directions very carefully until finally a single bud appeared on the broken trunk of the tree. So everyone they took most care of that tree. This was the 828th tree that Yamano had saved. Wow, applause to him. These many trees he has saved. So, Tadaiko Yamano was born in Osaka, Japan in 1900. He loved mountains and trees and spent many of his early years overseas working in forest management. Dr. Yamano discovered for himself that the forests do not belong to man alone. They are home to many other creatures. He saw how trees store water and protect us from floods and how they produce the air we breathe. So this is about Dr. Tadaiko Yamano. He was born in Osaka, Japan in 1900 and he loved mountains and trees and he spent his life in overseas working in forest management. So according to Dr. Yamano, the trees they are the home to many other creatures. Birds live on them. Yes, they have food. They get food from the trees. So many creatures live on the trees. He saw how trees they store water and protect us from floods and how they produce the air we breathe. Yes, of course we get oxygen from the trees and trees protect the earth from the landslides. So there are many uses of trees. Tadaiko Yamano was born in Osaka, Japan in 1900. So this is repeated again, children. Yes. Here, after the Second World War, when he walked in the mountains, he sensed that many ancient trees had lost their vitality. So, what is vitality? Energy. He was very concerned. In Japan, you will often find braided straw ropes tied around the trunk of very large old trees, especially in shrine grounds or along mountain paths. So, where can you find this old ancient trees? In the shrine, means temples, or along the mountain paths, we can see many old ancient trees. And these trees, as I showed you in part 1 video, these trees, you can find that it will be often braided straw ropes tied. They tie the ropes along the trees just to get the blessings from the trees, because people believe that gods and good souls live on that trees. So this is a sign of worship and respect. So worship means they do prayer to the trees. Those who live close to nature believe that gods and spirits reside within the mountain and trees. So as I told you, they believe that gods and spirits reside there, and they take great care to protect these things. It seemed to Dr. Yamano that he could hear the souls of these old trees calling out to him in their sufferings. So, how nice it is! So, the spirits which is living on that tree, it seems that it calls Dr. Yamano for the help for their sufferings, so that Dr. Yamano will treat the tree because he is the tree doctor. So, in order to save the trees, however, he must first study them. So, it's not that he goes and gives the medicine or he starts the treatment. First, he has to study them, study about the trees. He would also have to make medicine for their treatment. So he himself makes the medicines. All of this would take time and money. Yes, without money we can't do anything. But Dr. Yamano had very little money. Oh, then how is he going to save this netley tree? His family, however, understood his firm resolve, and they stood behind him while he worked at night and studied during the day. So his family took care of him and they helped a lot. So in those days, damaged trees were reinforced. Means they strengthened, they gave the support to grow the tree again by filling holes and cracks with concrete. My God, what is concrete? It is nothing but the materials used for building, to build the buildings. So when the tree is damaged, what the people did? They just fill the holes and cracks with concrete like cement, stones, etc. This method was developed in Europe well over a century ago. So long back in Europe, they followed this method. That is, when the tree is uprooted, so they fill the damaged parts with the concrete materials like cement and stones. But Dr. Yamano felt that trees are living beings, just as we are. Is, of course, trees are living thing because it breathes and it grows. So, in order to allow them to take in water, air, and nourishment, He decided to use earth, not concrete, to fill any cracks. So concrete means the materials which is used to build the house. And earth means it's just mud. So Dr. Yamano used the earth to fill the cracks, not the concrete. He cut off badly damaged parts. So, how is he giving the treatment? By filling the earth in the damaged parts. And he cut off very badly damaged parts and cleaned the trees with a brush. See how much lovingly he's treating the trees. He also gave them injections of nutrients and medicine that he himself developed. So he himself invented the medicines for the trees. So he injected the trees. What did he injected? The nutrients that is required for the regrowth of the tree. This combination of internal and external treatment was unheard at the time, and at first other scholars and specialists ignored his efforts. So children, whatever he was doing, whatever the treatment, whatever the method this Dr. Yamano is following, the other scholars, specialists, scientists, they all ignored his efforts. So, but Dr. Yamano did not bother about anyone because he loved nature, he loved the trees, so he just followed his method. So, what is a method? Yes, he cuts off the badly damaged parts and the cracked, wherever the cracks are there, he used to fill it with earth and not the concrete, and also gave injections of nutrients and medicines so that the tree will develop for itself. Now let's see whether this tree is alive or not. Yes, but his methods worked. Wow, wonderful. Many old trees revived. So, what is revived? Came back to life and put forth new buds. So, it started giving the new buds, the new leaves. He is now known all over the world as the tree doctor, the man who saves aged and sick trees. And his research and work have been taken up by young people who are helping to save trees. So his method started to work and he became very famous as a tree doctor, and many youngsters were inspired by his work and started to learn from him, and they also started helping to save the trees. Isn't a wonderful lesson, children? Yes. So we should also treat the plants and trees as a human. They are also a living being, so we should treat them properly by giving nutrients. So pour the water, fertilizer, insecticides. So time to time we have to take care of our plants and trees. Yes, now let's go to the some activity time. Now, we'll just have a quick summary of this lesson. So whenever you need it, you can just pause the video and read the summary point wise. So point number 1, this chapter is a short biography of the famed Japanese botanist and the tree doctor. Number 2, the typhoon affected Hiroshima. Great Chinese nettle tree was damaged. Tadaiko Yamano was the tree doctor. The children from Motomachi Elementary School cared for it. Dr. Yamano arrived because the tree was uprooted. So, what did the doctor do? The doctor pressed both hands against the tree and closed his eyes with concentration. And what did he observe? Through his palms, he could feel moisture and sensed that the tree was breathing. The children who had gathered around him anxiously sighed with relief when the doctor announced that the tree will live. This was the 828th tree that Yamano had saved. After the Second World War, many ancient trees had lost their vitality. Those who live close to nature believe that gods and spirits reside within the mountains and rivers. Dr. Yamano family understood his firm resolve and they stood behind him while he worked at night and studied during the day. The family supported him. Europe developed a method. Damaged trees were reinforced by filling holes and cracks with concrete. But Dr. Yamano felt that trees are living beings just as we are. So, in order to allow them to take in water, air, and nourishment, he decided to use earth, not concrete, to fill the cracks. He gave them the injections of nutrients and medicines that he himself developed. Finally, his methods worked. And many trees revived and put forth buds. Many trees came back alive and started budding. So, Dr. Yamano is now known all over the world as the tree doctor, the man who saved aged and sick trees. Now, children, let's quickly do this small activity, that is, answer the questions with reference to the context. Now, we read the summary also. We know what is the lesson about and we understood the lesson clearly. So, what is the context given? So, here two lines are given from the lesson. In Japan, you will find braided straw ropes tied around the trunks of very large old trees. Let me read again. In Japan, you will find braided straw ropes tied around the trunks of very large old trees. Yes. Why was this done? Means why was the rope were tied around the trunks? Why? Because they worship the tree. Let's see the answer. Because braided straw ropes was tied around the trunks of very large old trees as a sign of worship and respect. So they believe that the trees, gods and spirits resides there. So they worship and respect that tree. What's the next question? Where was such trees mostly found? Where was it found? In the shrines and in the mountain paths. So such trees were found in the shrine. What is shrine? Temples, grounds, or along the mountain path. So where you can see big mountains, there you can see this very old trees. What had happened to them after the Second World War? So what happened? After the Second World War, many ancient trees of Japan lost their vitality. So, this tree doctor started taking care of these trees to keep them alive because many trees in Japan lost. They are dead. Now, children, this is the end of the chapter. So assignment is given, just complete and submit it. So thank you children. Bye bye.